Alright, welcome to the next. I figured I would do a little, I'll probably do a few videos here, kind of deep diving a little bit more, but at the very least, I figured I gotta get into the, Blu-ray space a little bit here. So when it comes to Blu-ray and 4Ks, I don't necessarily have anything against making. Matter of fact, I cannot find a free, better alternative for ripping 4Ks and Blu-rays. But here's my caveat. Now, and going down in this rabbit hole, it really depends. It starts getting into, there are some certain do's and don'ts, but for the most part, it's personal preference and, situations and what you're dealing with and what you're doing and how much money you have and all that. So, I mean, I do understand that, and that's kind of why I want to, because it's one of those things where I'm hoping that, okay, you're doing it because somebody's doing something, using Make MKV and putting this stuff away at full rip, fine, and you know exactly what you're doing, and you know about compression, you know how to use handbrake, you just choose not to, fine, but at the same time, I want to make sure that you're, educated, so to speak. So right now, like I said before in my previous video, I prefer DVD fab. Now, if you are somebody that's ripping your collection, whether you're consistently ripping your collection or you have a backlog of an entire collection, the 50, 60 bucks for DVD fab is not a, huge leap in versatility. And now here's the caveat, or here's the reason why. So right now I'm actually doing, DVD fab allows you to do a full disc rip, and because I have the paid version, actually I'm using one of their trial versions, actually really good, so you can try it out. You'll get a few, I can't remember, like 10 or 15 rips or whatever. I'm actually using it right now because I got out of Blu-ray ripping, so I'm still kind of navigating it. Or back into it, so to speak. But as you can see, it's doing a main movie rip and a full disc rip. I'm speed duration it. Obviously, it takes a while. It's a 47 gigabit, rip. But yeah, it allows you to do a full disc rip, just like DVD Fab HD Decryptor in my previous video. And Handbrake accepts it just fine. So that's kind of the difference here. So if you do, you can still rip your Blu-rays. 4Ks I'm not really sure about. You might have to actually downgrade to Blu-ray to rip backups of them. But point is that you have a full disc rip that if you want to, you can go ahead and put it back onto a Blu-ray disc and have a burned backup copy as well. For people to borrow or whatever, and not worry about, or just use the discs that are getting used. And okay, the other caveat is that to understand is that the full disc rip is no different than the Make MKV or a full def lossless rip. It's going to be the same 47 gigabyte or the same, well, when you're done, just like this is right now, this is a disc of Firefly, season disc. It's going to be the same file size as doing a Make MKV rip. In this case, I think it's about 16 gigabyte, not the full 47. That does take, but when you do a full disc rip, you're getting all the special features and all the extras, and that's kind of a different, obviously that's a whole different thing. You're actually taking a full disc rip so you can rip it back onto disc. And matter of fact, I found out with DVD Fab, main moving it doesn't work because when I main movied it, it only grabbed the first episode and didn't grab the next. So main moving doesn't really work in that concept for season discs, anyways. So it's just gonna pick, it picks the pick the hour and 27-minute, and then didn't rip anything else. So and that's why it was so quick. Um, but yeah, the lossless quality it's the same thing. You know what I mean? So when you do a lossless rip of, say, just even a normal DVD fat or DVD, normal DVD or a 720p DVD, when it's done ripping, it's going to be pretty much the same size as if you just stored the full disc on your, um, you know, your hard drive. So it really doesn't, and VLC and everything else plays it just fine. It doesn't care. So it's kind of like one of those things at this point. Just either store it as DVD files at this point, or actually use your compression and your H.264, H.265. Take advantage. Because I watch some of these. This is where these videos come from. Is because I watch other people and their videos and content creators in this space. And it's like, well, I don't like. I like having full quality, so I put it away. Okay, you either don't understand how handbrake and how that works, or and how compression works, or you're just an idiot with too much money and too much hard drive space. Because storing Blu-ray discs at the full 30 gigabit, 40 gigabit, file size is absolutely insane. You got more money than fucking hard drive space in cents. You know what I mean? So, I mean, for the same space in my video library, oh my god. I mean, for the price of their 100 movies, I have thousands. So, I mean, granted, I get wanting, but it's you think of lossless, like, that's not exactly true. If you know how to tweak handbrake and you know how to actually set it correctly, you can either lose virtually nothing or only lose 5 to 8% of your quality and gain 70% of your space. So, like I said, most people have got to come to the conclusion that about 80% of people are doing this with not enough money for the hard drive space and everything have got to figure out handbrake and found a happy medium of space to quality. Man, for me, it's generally the TV show or the movie, right? So to give you a nice little, um, if it's, I'll tell you some of the caveats I made. Is if it's Halo, the new TV show Halo. Yeah, I made sure I went ahead and stored that 1080p. Now, generally, my rule of thumb for TV is 720p, but I made an exception for that TV show because, or Spartacus, or there's a few others. I think Foundation and some other TV shows that I made exceptions. That, yeah, because they are going to benefit, and your experience is going to benefit from that. But when my copy of A Team or my copy of trying to think like MacGyver or these things just do not benefit from. I just don't think you don't even though they remaster them and yada yada. I still don't see it. You know what I mean? Like they're rocking. Back then those cameras were only shooting in 720p. You're not gaining anything other than just extra space, in my opinion. Now, granted, when the video bitrate is there, you do kind of, especially the badass TV you have, in certain situations or whatever the case may be, yes, you do kind of really notice the extra video bitrate really does help the clarity of the TV show. But to me, it almost adds, because that's what those TV shows were: A Team, Adam's Family, MacGyver, these old Pretender, Angel, Buffy. These old TV shows, some of them kind of bent. Well, Angel and Buffy are probably not a good, but they're actually pretty tits. I did remaster them at 720, or you got them at 720p. But uh, some of the older TV shows really do kind of, I don't know, the lower quality kind of adds to their ambiance. You know what I mean? Adds to their, yeah, it's old and, in my opinion, like, I just don't think you gain anything by having these old TV shows or old movies like Charlie Varick or, I just don't see. Even my remastered Star Wars, I will say, does. Oh man, it's definitely a big difference. But I don't know. It just to me, nah. But at the same time, my Transformers collection, my these things, Avatar. Oh, these things definitely benefit 1080p, 4K. You know, so I don't know. There's a line, and obviously, freaking hard drive space, people. And just trying to find a way to find your happy medium of where you want your media. So this is just kind of doing a just right now. I'm only doing a full. I'll show you, but the reason why DVD Fab for you might be a better because if you are handbrake, unless you're putting this shit away, which I do not recommend. You're gonna have to handbrake it because I swear to God, look down more depth videos. People know what they're doing, and look at handbrake settings that you lose no quality. The only thing you gain is space, right? Because because these programs, they don't do, and Make MKV does not do compression. So right now here, I'm gonna go on a little hunt here because I haven't done Blu-rays in so long. I didn't even remember where the hell they store and figured out the main movie only uh only picked the one episode and dumped the other three, so I had to go to the full disc rip instead. But yeah, this is I don't know. And DVD, the reason why I'm saying DVD Fab, if you insist on, so doing a disc rip like I just did, a full disc rip, is a lot less wear and tear on your hard drive, okay, or on your CD-ROM, I should say. You're just not letting it sit there and that disc sitting there spinning to convert the video. First, rip it and then convert it for you, all while the disc is spinning in your ROM. When you just rip the disc to your hard drive, it's faster and it just and honestly, once you go to the converting process, you can skip right to handbrake, which I'm going to show you right here, where now I'm figuring out where the hell what's going on, and figured out I had to go to the full disc grip to get all my episodes, because main movie basically dumped 3 of the 4 episodes. The handbrake recognizes it. It does not care. And the difference is that you want lawless quality? Cool. And then a full disc rip is exactly right. It's the entire Blu-ray disc ready to, in actual Blu-ray or actual DVD format. Not MKV, not MP4, DVD format. There you go. That's lossless. Completely lossless. So, I mean, if you want to be crazy, I mean, it's not going to change in size if you're not going to do any compression or whatever. So, hey, I would knock yourself out with that. So, I guess my explanation here is that do not listen unless you understand exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it. Do not listen to and put that Make MKV crap away. And honestly, there's better ways, and like I said, DVD Fab. The reason why I tote DVD Fab is because that free program they put out, DVD Fab Cripper, which is up on my website now, or on my channel, for you to get for free. That'll rip all your DVDs, full disc. It's quick, dirty, and you can also make very easily turn them into burnable discs for full disc rips, and then just as easy to convert with handbrake. It does not care. And if you're already going to be handbraking, what does it matter? And then the only thing you gain is less wear and tear in your ROM, and now you have a full disc to mess with. And right now here, I'm figuring out just kind of checking out there. But I already figured out easiest way to navigate your season discs is obviously episode time. So I figured out there was the 127, which I was kind of happy with Firefly that they actually picked Serenity or whatever is actually on there as the first, which is not how it aired, by the way. So that was kind of cool. And then, 3 more episodes, which were 43 minutes each, so I was able to easily figure out, which were the episodes, and then we're going to dive into this and, get this converted. I did just go ahead and I'm going to elapse this, but I also just removed the 3 episodes as well, just so it's like, yeah, we'll just do the one and see how it comes out. But although it did come out to like 4 gigabyte for the movie, so it's like, yeah, I haven't done a Blu-ray rip in a long time, so did not realize that when it has that much def available, my 1080p setting will, really, I mean, holy crap. So I'll probably end up redoing it and getting it down to about a gig or 2 gigs or something like that. Get about half of that, just because it's just not gonna. I mean, it's a good show and everything, but it's just not benefiting. From what I saw, it's just not benefiting from that extra file size and video bitrate. Anyways, so my point is that it's really understanding the trade-off. And the thing is MKV or Handbrake and MKV. If you're gonna go with MKV, I go MP4 because I like the versatility and compatibility. And then H.264 codec and MP4 are completely open. I think Apple has adopted MP4. H.264 does not have a copyright anymore. License holder H.265 does. This is why Plex and other things have issues encoding H.265 or transcoding. So I like to stick with the more, the one back, I mean, not the latest and greatest, but the one, that's been around for a while, tried and tested, and it's just going to be easier on your Plex and Jelly. This is the personal caveats that you have to understand, that you might want to store your stuff, and the idea of storing it in 10-bit and just this stupid high quality is so great, but at the same time you're trying to run a remote Plex server or Jellyfin server or transcoding server for your mom or your friends and whatever. You have to understand that you are making you're going to have to spend the money on your Plex server or your home server infinitely more and make it work infinitely harder to transcode and to deal with that H.265, 10-bit, HDR. I mean, when you add those layers of that onto Plex or Jellyfin, it's just going to make your transcoding work that much harder when you need to downbit or people are trying to watch it on their cell phones or whatever. It's just all of a sudden it's like, well, can't do that. So then your Plex server, your Jellyfin automatically starts transcoding and downsteps it to 480p because that person only has 2 bars or whatever on their 4G, or it immediately downsteps it because the TV's trash or whatever the case may be. Good chance that you're not going to be able to feed that to that person, at that def, or most definitely when you put it away at that kind of volume, in size. And there is a happy medium ground here where, as I said, you can go ahead and convert your video files, and there's Handbrake settings that you can make sure that lossless. It's beautiful. You lose 3% of quality. You might have to wait, 2-3 hours for it to convert, but depending. But yeah, it'll be lossless, and it'll be half or even 20% of the size. You can squeeze that 47 gigabyte or that 30 gigabit MKV of lossless, that make MKV kicks out, into a 4 gigabit file, 2 gigabyte file, 8 gigabyte file, 13 gigabyte file. The difference is balance of compression, and how much, and obviously how long you're willing to wait for things to convert. And the problem is that the balance in transcoding servers is to understand is that the higher the compression, the higher the Plex server has to work, and the harder it has to work, and the harder it has to, because you have to now decompress that video for that person to watch, or especially remotely. Anything that's on mobile devices, tablets, phones, anybody remote, obviously that you're not in your internal network. Wi-Fi is a little better, but not as good. And if you're wired, most likely direct play. And then, but the caveat here is that it's the same way, the opposite. So when you're storing your files in 50 gigabit raw MKVs, there's no compression. it's the same problem. Now your transcoding server is going to help compress the video to feed it because it's too big. You know what I mean? You can't download a 50 gigabit movie from your cell phone or whatever remote device or even from Wi-Fi in 2 hours. And that's the problem. If you can't download the thing on your bandwidth at full whatever in the 2 hour movie or hour and a half span movie, you certainly can't watch it in real time as well. So that's where the transcoding is doing the balance of trying to figure out, whether Plex just buffers or Jellyfin just buffers for a minute to help, make the difference and then help either compress the video or uncompress it. So that's kind of the issue. So that's the balance you're trying to do, is trying to figure out where your line is of, where your Plex server is just not working that, or your Jellyfin server, or whatever MB or whatever it is you're using. It does not matter. The concept is the same. So here I'm just kind of, getting this fire, and I'm just doing the first episode. And just showing you that handbrake's the same. It does not matter. So if you are a person that are in a place where you're going to handbrake it anyways, there is no, why? What does it matter? Obviously when everything is done, you can just go delete the file, the original, eventually. If you're like me, I store, a lot of the source material for a while in case I got to go back until I proof it or whatever. But you're going to delete it, and then you have your done for adding into Plex. So what does it matter? And then why not have the full disc and maybe watch it and, check it out. Or maybe burn it and get a backup. So now we're going to check out my rip here of the first episode of Firefly, which, yes, awesome that they made Serenity the first episode instead of episode 11, which if you check IMDb, it's supposed to be. Or that's how it aired. And it looks tits. It's a full 1080p, just tits. Technically it's 4 gigabyte. I'm not happy with that. That's a little big, I think. But hey, I might keep it just because Firefly's so small. I might end up keeping it just because, I don't mind Firefly being, by the time it's done, I don't mind it being 30 gigabit or 60 gigabit just for one season show, just because, I love it that much. So, another Make MKV rant, or another just, hey, and DVD Fab can also rip right to H.264 or whatever your case may be. So if you're going to wait all that time for your movie to get done, why not be already done and ripped and ready to go? So that's the thing that DVD Fab can do, and you can just select all your encoding settings, and it can just be done, ready to add Plex when you're done ripping. Then, at that point. I don't know. Alright, that's it. Peace.